right. Welcome to the We Rock podcast. This is a special episode, a little different. And actually, I think we do know the episode number on this one, right, Austin?
Yes, sir. We looked ahead of time. We tried to be as prepared for this one as we possibly could.
This one is not just one of those we're going to horse around and fool around like we normally do. We're going to be a little bit more serious, but it's all because we got a special guest here, and Mr. Lee Cockerell. Thank you for coming to join us. Austin, do you want to read his bio, or how do you want to do that?
I can go into it a little bit, and of course, if I leave anything out, Lee, feel free to correct me.
I hope he smacks you down if you get it wrong. I think that's we need like almost a buzzer.
Right. Yes. Lee was a former executive vice president of operations for Walt Disney World Resort. He led a team of over 40,000 cast members and operations, including 20 resort hotels, 4 theme parks, 2 water parks, shopping and entertainment areas, an ESPN sports complex, and related supported operations. He's also an author of several books, all that I own, and I highly encourage all of you to look these books up and get them if it will definitely help your business. But he's author of Creating Magic, The Customer Rules, Time Management Magic, and also Career Magic. In addition to that, he is also hosts a podcast, Creating Disney Magic, that is once a week. Am I correct?
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
But only 15 minutes, and we've just finished number 605, I think.
Oh my gosh, we got a ways to go. We're only on 54, so
yeah, we're bi-weekly whenever we remember.
Yeah.
It's going to take you 11 years, so.
That's quite some time. I don't know that people actually want to listen to me that long anyway. So we'll see how this goes. But man, hey, thank you so much for coming on. Obviously, I talked to you a little bit before we signed on and kind of really prefaced where this all stemmed from. And that's from just my experience at something else, which is not necessarily, it's not connected to y'all, but it's somewhat inspired by y'all, which would be Savannah Ball. And watching Banana Ball with the Savannah Bananas. And it happened to be the Texas Tailgaters here at Texas A&M University. Where I had such a great time. And for those of y'all who are wondering what I'm talking about, go back and look at. We posted a video of that a couple weeks ago, and just my experience of what that was, and really kind of started diving down into the hospitality of what that was and what I learned from that, and really wanted to take that information and be able to provide that here in my monument shop. How do I take the hospitality of something that's an event that is intended for good times? It's intended to try to make somebody feel special at an event like that. And how do I take that into my monument shop where I have families come in and we're talking about, end of time things and those kind of things, stuff nobody wants to buy, and bring hospitality to that. So that stemmed to Austin reaching out to you and trying to get you on to see if you had any insight and see your insight into kind of our little world.
Yeah, sure. I think there's probably just one way to focus on everything. And definitely every one of your customers or everybody you know in the world or anybody in the hospital or on an airplane have been to Disney. So they certainly have a way to compare how you make them feel special, how you treat them as an individual, how you show respect, I think, and in your business even more so, that total respect and care. I always like the word care. Yeah. I told somebody in the hospital, care about my care if I end up in the hospital. And we were talking about that yesterday. But, it's kind of, to me, and I said to you earlier, your mother probably taught you all these things, is to be courteous and to be nice and to make people feel good and to control your anger and think about what the other person, what are you trying to provide to a customer or a guest or a family that's gone through a terrible situation that brings them into your business. And I think we shouldn't try too hard. We should just be a person that has empathy, and we care, and we show that empathy in every way we can, and every employee around them that works for you shows that same empathy. I always talk about biggest part of making people support you and feel good about you is if they know you care about them. And I think we miss that sometimes. And this not only empathy, but also the discipline that everybody in your organization wakes up in the morning, comes into work, and knows what their role in that show is, of what they're supposed to do, not do, how they should speak to a customer, how they should not speak to a customer, what they should say, what they shouldn't say. I try to, and not. I know your business is a little different than some, but everybody's put it on a show so that the customer is happy. And we all need to know what our role in the show is. And there's probably not any room in there to dismiss people or to not pay attention or not be available when they want to see us or not to have the knowledge of what kind of questions they're going to ask. I suspect that there are no new questions in your business. You've heard them all. You've heard every issue that people want to know about. So you certainly have I said in my business, I always used all the problems and all the issues that ever came up. I just take those and make that part of the training for the employees.
Because it's going to come up again.
It's going to happen. Everything happens again. And
there's a friend of mine that says there's no new idea. There's nothing new under the sun, right? So it's all just a rerun of the same old stuff, just kind of under different clothing.
Yeah, there is nothing new. And I think if you sit down with your team and just write down the kinds of things that they get exposed to and get challenged on, and make sure that you all agree what is an appropriate response, an appropriate answer, appropriate decision. And then you'll get that consistency of somebody not answering off the cuff, because especially if you have new employees. I mean, what happens in real life is the best way to train people about the future. And I've done that my whole life. And I've worked in all of those jobs too. I started out in the Army, and then I was a cook, and then I was working in the hotels and making up beds. And one reason I had a lot of success, if I've done all those jobs, I've been there. I know what's going on. A lot of executives don't seem to know what's going on. They don't like to get off the carpet. And I've been there. I might even have participated in some of those things in my So I'm fully aware of how people react, the egos, the wanting to be important, misrepresenting the business for their own needs. I mean, I think one thing I talk about today, and make a list of the things that are every employee that works for you needs to know. It might be 10 things, it might be 30. And you write down and you go over that with every single person. I don't care if it takes you 3 hours after you've decided to hire them. And like your mother always said at the end, you look at them in the eye and you say, "Do you understand what I just told you?"
I heard that quite a bit growing up.
Yeah. The other part is, am I clear? Is there anything you don't understand about what I just said? And I think that's where you miss the boat. We hire too fast. We kind of skip over those things saying, well, they must know. Everybody knows what they should do. And they don't. People don't know. You don't know where they came from. You don't know what kind of family they grew up in, what kind of culture they grew up in, what religion they were. You don't know what happened to them along the way emotionally. I think we're all damaged. We just got to figure out what the damage is back there in our brains. And people, it's all, I said to people, every problem you have in your business will be a person.
Yeah.
A person will have created that. Nothing else. Nothing.
No, it's juggling what those problems are. And I tell my folks all the time, it's not the mistake or the problem that becomes the issue. It's how you handle the issue. Because to me, it's always like mistakes are going to happen. We asked one vendor a while back. We happen to have a number of mistakes with this particular vendor. But within this particular situation, I asked them, because they'd asked why we stopped ordering. And I said, well, let me ask you this. There's there's a level of mistakes that I think every business has in mind that they're okay with, right? Because there's no such thing as perfection. Nobody's going to get it 100% right 100% of the time. And they said, okay, well, I disagree, but I said, okay, that's fine. But there's a level of how much you're willing to let the ball drop. And I said, what is that number? And they're like 3%. I said, well, you're tougher than I am because I was thinking more like 5%. And my mindset is this: is again within that 5%, it doesn't happen that often, but how do you approach it when that 5% happens? Is it just let it go, it's fine, or is it no? You know what? We need to find a way to fix this because we need to know how to handle this later on down the road when it comes up. And those are the differences between how you approach. And I tell my guys that because they'll get I always kind of like lockjaw or just hung up whenever a mistake happens. It's like, oh no, what happened? I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Let's grab hold of it and figure it out before it actually becomes a thing. Don't make it a thing. Just fix it first.
Well, I think the issue is you got to make sure you remind them we never get defensive with the guest or the customer,
Yeah.
even if they're wrong. Somebody said the customer's not always right, and I said that's right, but they always have a credit card. So, I don't care if they're right or wrong. I want them to be my customer, and I want them to go out after they do business with me and tell everybody that they had a real serious problem and Lee took care of it, and I'll get 25 more customers. And you got to get over this ego thing. I tell you, I learned in the hospitality, but nobody can upset me. Nobody. I've been called everything. People drunk. They're going through a divorce, and God knows what they'll say to you.
That's one of the statements that we've made several times on here is you can't hurt my feelings. You don't know who my friends are.
Yeah. you never. And I worked with my son on that over the years, and my grandkid. People cannot upset us. We understand that people have issues that you don't even know about. We don't know why they're triggered. They may be going through a divorce or got financial problems, or their mother just died, and I'm not going to try to figure out how they were, their mother didn't hug them enough when they were 8 years old and they never got over it. And I'm just that's all we do. We're here to serve and here to take your money. And
that's one of your rules in the customer.
People have got to get over this, because it's not only at work. They mess up their whole lives emotionally with always unhappy, and this is wrong, and the traffic, everything affects them emotionally. And I think I would tell you that every problem you have with an employee is your fault. Either you hired them, you didn't train them, you weren't clear with them, you did,
Yeah.
I always think about when somebody working for me did something wrong. Why did they do that? Well, and then I look back and say, yeah, I guess I didn't mention that when we were talking about joining the company. And when you start to think about those things, they say you should always look back every day and think about what you didn't do so well yesterday. Every morning you ought to think about yesterday, reflection.
Yeah.
And maybe it's you want to apologize to your wife today, or
my wife would say just today.
Yeah. Or you might want to sit down with your son again and talk about the kind of stress you had with the talk yesterday, and tell him how much you love him. And so there's kind of reflection and anticipation. And I always think about those in my life. If I reflect, I'll learn. And it'll go in my brain. The next time it happens, I won't do it, because your brain does remember what you learn and reminds you, hey, just let it go. And I have no doubt that you can control your emotions by understanding and talking to yourself a lot and thinking about this. Nobody's going to upset me. I'm going to make it every customer, whether they do business with it, they don't do, they leave, they don't pay me, I'm not going to get angry. I'll just do whatever's the proper approach, whether it's legal or what. And you got most people, I think, right now are under more anxiety than ever in the world. they're worried about their job, they're worried about the economy, they're worried about politics, safety, you name it. And people are really on edge. And it's not hard for them to get emotional and to get defensive. I try to think about every day when I go into any situation, I try to make sure people are happy to see me.
That's one thing. That's one thing that Tony and I've talked about quite often is that, not just in our business, but in any line of work, that anytime that you're dealing with people's money, they can become defensive pretty quickly whenever it comes to that. But especially in our line of work, whenever you introduce the emotional aspect of it, that all of a sudden you've made this perfect mix that unfortunately sometimes people will get volatile about it. But the thing that we have to sit there and just constantly remind ourselves is that, are they mad at me or are they mad at the situation?
They're mad. They're never mad at you.
Exactly.
They don't even know you. I mean, this is the problem. You don't know. You may never know why they had that situation, why that happened. You don't know what happened 10 minutes ago or 10 years ago or what's going on or their relation. I mean, we don't know. And we shouldn't try to figure it out. We ought to just figure out what we're doing. And if I stay cool, calm, and collected, and show empathy and care, and stop or say, let's go sit down for a few minutes and talk about this. Just like, I mean,
I think that's a big deal because, like you said, you don't know what they've gone through, and honestly, depending upon what it is, this may be the hardest situation they've ever run into. Right. I've talked a lot about when it comes to things, even within my business and with my folks and whatnot. One of the long-term statements I've made here as a generalization to get people to kind of understand this concept is that every generation that comes is weaker than the generation that came before. And that doesn't mean you're weak because of you don't know anything or there isn't some strong people. But in general, we have, as a society, made things softer. And I'm not sitting here talking politically. My parents did not go out to eat, but maybe once a month when they were younger. My grandparents never went out to eat. And if I go back to my great grandparents, when they moved to rural Houston to be rice farmers, they never went out to eat. My great grandfather was a blacksmith there and made wagon wheels. I mean, these are people that had every generation that's come has had simple things easier. He wouldn't have had making wagon wheels. He wouldn't have had indoor plumbing or electricity. Man, the air conditioning's awful nice here in my office, and I have wireless headphones. It's so everything comes and it gets a lot easier. You don't know that individual who's in your office, who's complaining or yelling or whatnot. This may be one of the toughest situations they've had. We don't know. And you've got to mitigate those scenarios with that mindset as to, how can I make you not make you, because that still comes off as forceful, but how can I help you get to a place where we have a better understanding of where we're at, but get you to where I can make you happy? Because that's my original intent as the business owner and person selling something anyway, right? Nobody wants to buy what I sell. Hands down, they would rather that individual be here. This is not the product that people are lining up out the door, kicking my door down to go buy a monument to go into a cemetery. If I could make that person be here, I'd be a heck of a lot richer,
Absolutely. So, and I would say at Disney and Hilton and Marriott, we thought about one that would remove the obstacles from people, whatever they are. And it could be their attitude. It could be their finances. It could be, you can try to figure out what it is, but you may never. And
does it matter? Does it matter what they've gone through before? Because right now is the situation we're working on. Is that right?
Absolutely. All that right. Matter of fact, hopefully your behavior and your approach and your sensitivity and will be so different than other people they deal with. Somebody asked me what magic was, and I said, when you're so good, nobody knows how you do it. And, how do you keep your cool? How do you sense? It's like me. I've been married 58 years. I come home. I'm not stupid. I can tell what moved my wife's info. I didn't always do that, but I have proved that since. And I can
Well, I
make
mean,
it, and I can
just
make
from
it better,
the
I can make it worse.
just from a few things I've heard in your books, I think you've done kind of like I have, which is it sounds like you've married somebody more intelligent than you are, and so you kind of have to go into the situation going, what did I do? My wife graduated cum laude in 4 years. I graduated thank the laude after 10. So,
And they are women. They're smarter than we are.
yeah, 100%.
They have more, intuition, and they have more. And we have ego problems, and we want to be in charge, and we know everything. And it's as you get older, you get over that.
Do you find?
Or
do
you
you
get
find? Which is way more expensive. Do you find that ego ends up being one of the bigger holdups when it comes to hospitality?
I think it's the biggest problem men have, frankly.
No,
I think it's the number one problem of absolutely. We make decisions without checking with others. We think we know everything. We don't listen. We want our idea to win. We want, I mean, it's ego. I mean, that's men are wired deeply with this issue, and some have it really bad, and some cover it up, but it's always there because in your DNA. I mean, it's who you are, and I surrounded myself at Disney with executives that were women because they did a better job. They were more sensitive. They were focused on getting the job done today, not thinking about the 10-year plan. The guys are working on 10 years, what they wanted. And the ladies were getting it done and think about your home. The wife gets it done. It's today. She's not thinking about dinner in a month. She's thinking about tonight. And these are kinds of things you got to kind of come to grips with it. People are complex. You'll never figure out any of them. I mean, we don't know. I mean, I think the kinds of damage that were done, they said when you see somebody and they're upset and they're coming off and weird, you should look at them in the eye and say, what happened to you? What happened to you? Because it might have happened when they were 2. It might have happened when they were 12. It might have happened. And I was talking to a lady last week, or she was talking about this. She went to a very good school, and she felt that she shouldn't be there because all the students were smarter than she was, and she had to work really hard, and she determined to do it. And she said that my problem was in 5th grade, some other girl told me I'm stupid. And she said, that never left. That, 5th grade. And a lot of this,
that stuff's sticking with you. It's tough. I'm not the biggest, I'm not an advocate for any of that kind of thing by any stretch of the imagination, but I am an advocate when it comes to having to experience tough things. And I let my kids run through a lot of that because I think that's what makes us tougher. I think some of the more dangerous things in life is the lack of experience at times.
And they should have early responsibility. I mean, we know that. I mean, growing in, if you're in the rural Oklahoma or Texas, all of those kids, it's just a given. You don't it's the way it is. You have chores, you have things you have to do. You're expected to do them. I grew up in Oklahoma on a dairy farm, and, I always had a job. But every year doing something, either in a lumber yard or delivering.
Austin, you don't know anything about any of that, do you?
Oh yes, that's one thing, especially from reading your books and how you grew up. I grew up farming as well, and I was still a farmer prior to me starting this monument company. And you hit it the nail square on the head. Is that there was always a job to do. There was never.
I can tell you, my son, by the time he was born and raised, I was doing pretty good. He didn't have to work, but he did. And he played football, and he had a job at a bookstore when he was 14. And we sent him to Oklahoma every summer for the summer. He worked on a friend of ours' Longhorn Ranch, digging fence post holes and clearing brush and at 110 degrees, and the first place he first tried to chew tobacco and threw up all over his face. And he went to the diner and found out how nice people were when you forgot your money and pay us next time you're in here, and all that kind of stuff. So now, by the time his 3 kids grew up, and they're all 30, 27, and 25 now, they had to work too. And we really there was no money issues. And they all had jobs. Disney had a program where you could work in horticulture in the summer, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m, pulling weeds and unloading mulch. And you had to be on time, and you had to have your name tag on. And the first week, 50 kids get fired. They can't get there. All our grandkids did it, and they all had jobs, and I said, people ask me how I'm doing today. And I said, well, I've been married 58 years. Priscilla has not left me, and nobody's in rehab. They all graduated from college, and they all have a job. That's kind of the perfect life. Yeah. But experience is everything.
Yeah.
You can read all you want about India, but if you don't go there, you'll never understand it. And it's about
we were dealing with some of that coming into the summer. Of course, we're May 18th, so the next week, starting Memorial Day, the kids are out of school here in College Station ISD, and my kids work for me during the summer. So my son he'll be turning 15 this summer, and this will be year 3 for him, and this will be my daughter's first year at 12. And so my daughter will work here in the office, but my son has been out on the setting truck, going into the cemeteries, digging foundations. And whenever he started, I told the guys outside, I said, look, I understand he's my son. That does not mean that he gets some kind of favoritism because he's my son. There are certain things he physically cannot do because he was 70 pounds when he started working. He was not going to carry an 80-pound bag of concrete. Right. So, but I said, he can go get all your tools. He can, do all these little things that he needs to go do. So this summer, as we're coming into it, he says, hey, Dad, I don't want to work as much this summer because I want to spend some time at the house and the gym so I can get ready for wrestling next year. And I just laughed at him. I said, do you think that you're going to get a better workout on your own in the house when you got the TV on and all that other stuff? Or you think that the guys are going to work you out harder in the heat and you're going to build more endurance? Well, I said, you're not getting out of work. I'm not done. That's not how this is going.
Well, he was creative. He tried.
I gave him credit for it, for sure.
One of the worst things I ever told my dad whenever I was growing up, and it happened to be during the summer, and I'd already finished what I had to be doing that morning. And after lunch, I was sitting around, and my dad walked in, and he said, what are you doing? I said, I don't know. I'm bored. He said, we can fix it.
We were never bored. But that's just the culture you grow up in, and hopefully you have the right parents. Let me tell you, it's kind of like I said, every business problem you have is your fault, and every kid problem you have is your fault. So make sure you're doing the right things at the right time, and those problems don't show up. And when they do show up, you deal with them, as I said before, like your mother used to. Well, I said she didn't wait for your annual review. She kicked your butt and made sure you knew what you're supposed to do. And integrity and honesty. I mean, to me, the biggest problem we have today is really a pretty shallow integrity level for a lot of people, that they kind of find a way to do things they shouldn't do and think they did okay. But
you talked a lot about that in your first book, where you're talking about hiring folks and integrity when it came to what they put on their resume. And I always find that to be rather interesting when I hear people, their resumes are so great, which is one of the things you hit on. And I sit here and go, man, I can write down anything. There's especially whenever you're dealing with small business really has almost no time to go check this stuff. They're not doing. And so I have a rule in my shop, and it's this: whenever I hire people to work outside, they have to interview really kind of with anybody. We're small staff. I've got 5 people that work for me. But when I hire somebody to work outside, the first thing I do is I hand them a tape measure, because they'll always, I've worked outside. I've done this. I've done that. And I hand them a tape measure, and I'll tell them, show me 5'5" or 5'6". And so it takes them a minute. And I don't care how long it takes them to get there. Because it's not about whether or not you can get there. It's under pressure. I understand that. I want to know that you can get there. Because the next question is more important. Once you found 5'6", can you find half of it? Because, so the premise of this is this. Most of our monuments that we sell, and I don't know what Austin's normal size is, but our base size is 5'6". And when you put that on 2 plots, there's a center line that they will mark in the cemetery for us. And that I know 5'6", the center of that base has to go at that center line. So if I can find half of it, with 5'6" being 66 inches, that means it's 33 inches, and that's where that center line is.
Right.
So it's a matter of trying to figure out, can you think through a situation without a lot of context? Because I'm going to send out people with as much context as I can give you, but there might be something I didn't think about come up.
Well, and I think what you're doing is, we say hire the right people, then make sure you're really training them, and that's what you're doing. And you talk about how important the little things are. When I joined Marriott, they send you to food school, and there is a dipping temperature for ice cream that I didn't know about. I'd never heard of.
I mean, Bluebell has not told me what this is so that I can set my freezer to this. So what is this?
I think it's around 12 degrees, if I remember. The key is, if it's the right temperature, you can probably sell 10 more ice cream cones an hour, because you can dip it. And if it's too warm, you have a melting point. So there's the right temperature, and it turns into productivity. How quick you can, some ice cream, you like put it in the microwave, but just little thing. I mean, it's just a little thing. What is the temperature hot food should be at? Those are important things. That's life and death. That's food poisoning, and what temperature, and this, and on and on and on. And well, our job, I tell, we need less bosses and more teachers. Our job is to teach our kids and to teach our employees how to be successful. That's it. And I don't assume anybody knows anything.
Whenever it comes to hiring, do you put more importance on the skill set that somebody comes to that job with, or more about the ability of wanting to learn?
We always want the skill, depending if you're a lawyer, of course. But
Absolutely.
We'll interview 20 lawyers to get the one that also is the right person. I think that's the key. You need skill sometimes. Now, most jobs at Disney, you don't need skill. We train that. I mean, if you come in with a good attitude and you're reliable, those are the 2 things we're looking for: attitude, reliability, because those are the 2 that you run your business on. Then we'll teach you the other stuff. But when you get up into technical jobs of whether you're a doctor or whether you're a surveyor, or you got to have the technical knowledge. But we're not going to hire one just because you got technical knowledge. We're going to keep looking for the technical ability plus good attitude and reliability. People say, you may get the most technical guy in the world. For instance, I had a chef. I hired him. He was the best chef everybody. He's great. We hired him. California Grill, one of our best restaurants, and we fired him 90 days later. And basically, he could cook, no problem, but he could not get people to work for him. He was a jerk. He raised his voice to people. He was inappropriate. His skill meant nothing. So we have to find the skill and the common sense.
Oh, yeah. He has to fit the culture of where he's assimilating into.
Absolutely. And so you got to take your time. I mean, people are,
Well, that's what you mentioned something about that in there in your book, and I started really thinking about it. It was that you've got to. It's not just about taking your time. You talked about how long it took to hire an executive VP for something, and everybody's kind of getting antsy about how long it was taking. I had the realization. I was like, well, if you speed that up and you hire the wrong person, you hire the wrong individual, it's going to, not only is it going to cost you more time and it costs you more money, it's going to cost you more time in the end, because you're back to the same process that you just lost the time as it was with that person working there that was the wrong individual.
No question. And the people giving me grief, the guy reported to me, not to them. They, easy for them to push me, but no, you pay for that.
Yeah.
Just get the wrong wife. You'll find out.
Yeah. Well, but not only that, even whenever they report to you, just how do you treat the people that, because again, when we get back down to hospitality, it's you have a quote, something to the effect of, and I can't remember it verbatim, but it's something to the effect of, you kind of get out what you put in. So I always remember the story my father-in-law told me when he was a lobbyist in DC. He used to get up in the morning and he would go take the train into DC, and then he'd have to get into, walk across several blocks to get to his building and all this. And his boss said, "Why are you doing all that?" He said, "Well, because it's cheaper." He said, "You need to take a car service to get into town. Your time is more valuable to me, and your stress level is more valuable. Your limit of stress is more valuable to me than you spending all that time doing that. You coming in, it's going to cost us a little bit more on this, but you're going to be more effective as an employee being taken care of doing it this way."
Did he do that?
He did. And it changed a lot of his aspect on how he approached things. In fact, it ended up going whenever he left, after the merger happened and he went to work for Exxon in Houston. He was, and I don't remember, he gets real irritated about some of it. And so, but he was something in PR, VP of PR, something to that effect. And he talks about how it affected his relationship with the people he worked with there in Houston, and getting people to just be happy with what they're doing and not hating their lives, because, man, oil and gas is a rough industry as it is. You're always demonized, and nobody wants to deal with you, but you know what? They got to have you anyway. So it's one of those things where it's good money, but it's tough. And if you can make simple things a little easier and make people want to be there, then you can go a lot further.
Absolutely. Except when you're young, you want to take the train because that's where the girls are.
Well, this is true, but he was married for a good time at that point in time, and he knows good and well that his German wife is way more intelligent than he is. So,
wow, I guarantee if she's German, that's true.
Yeah. But no, I think that's a big thing that gets lost, though, is how you treat those folks below you. Because we say below you because that tends to be the standard, right? It's the hierarchy that we kind of set up. But I always get picked on here in my shop because I'll come out and say, we need to do this or we need to do that. And they're like, one of my guys, Anton, will go, "We? What you mean we?" I mean, because we're a team, and he's picking back, but it's funny because that's what I mean is if we're going to succeed together, then we're going to fail together too. And if we're going to fail together, it's because something went wrong and the communication broke down or something didn't go right. We need to figure it out. But if I'm going to let y'all fail, I've got to go down with the ship as well.
Well, we say at Disney, we try to create a culture where everybody matters and they know it.
Yeah.
And somebody said, "Well, how do you make sure they know it?" I said, "You tell them." Just like my wife, she said, "If you love me, tell me. Don't keep it to yourself." Little things. And it's true. People, appreciation, recognition, encouragement is the fuel that drives human performance. And we have opportunity to do it. It costs nothing, and people are waiting for it and need it. We all need it. We all want to be somebody. We want to be important. That's probably the problem around the world. And people are feeling abused, not taken care of, and wars. And I mean, it's, you can only push humans so far, and they will react, and not for the good. So it's people. That's all you got to remember. Every day you wake up in the morning, somebody said, "What do you mean it's people?" I said, "Well, why did that door fall off the Alaskan Airlines plane in flight?" Why? And they say, "Well, I don't." I said, "Yeah, I guarantee you, somebody. I don't know. It could have been 40 levels down, the guy that made the screws, or it could have been midway, the guy who's ordered them, or the final guy who tightened them or didn't tighten them. Somebody along the line, that door did not fall off by itself. Somebody caused that to happen."
Correct.
Yeah.
And once we get out of the habit of trying to find another reason besides people, because it's always people.
Well, and I always kind of go. I've always said that I want to know. I don't want to know the excuse. I want to know the reason. And there's a difference, right? Because at times the excuses are like, "Well, I did. I don't know," and I I can't backwards engineer to figure out what happened to make sure that that doesn't happen again unless I know exactly what the problem was. And that kind of runs true the same whenever we're talking about dealing with families and they're upset. And why are they upset? Oh, well, Uncle Bobby's, beer cans that we left out there for, at the monument weren't there for whatever reason. And it's kind of creating those setups as to how we handle and how we step in and take care of those families along the way. And there's some bizarre stuff we deal with, but nevertheless, you take care of them. It means something to them.
Well, it does to everybody, and sensitivity is something that we all need to work on, because it's easy to not be sensitive to people in difficult situations. And I think about that a lot. I think I tell people, be nice to people. Everybody's already got enough problems. You don't need to make them worse. And, and just let it go. There's no upside to aggravating people. Just let it go. That's the ego problem. And just, you don't have to win the argument. Just be nice and move on.
Well, it depends. I mean, if I'm aggravating Austin, that's a different animal, because I'm doing that out of love, and it's just it entertains us both, I think.
They say the problem with anger is when you get angry, it ruins your whole day, because it takes you that long to get over it. And I think there's truth to that. And then you make mistakes with anger. You make a bad decision, or you say the wrong thing.
I've told a lot of people before that anger is a choice, and it takes a lot of work to stay angry.
Boy, I know it does. And it's just something you got to be thinking about. I said, if you got a problem with it, put a little note on your computer and look at it every day. It says, be nice. Or go see a psychiatrist or whatever you need. But find out what your problem is.
Yeah. And say, of course, there's other monument company owners that listen to this, and for any of them listening, if they were wanting to start back over as far as trying to improve their customer service, to make sure that the families feel cared about, that they feel valued, and also down to their employees for the same for them, what would be the first step you would say as far as laying the groundwork to setting up a culture of good customer service in your organization?
Yeah, I would say clearly on any situation like that, even if you go into a new job, you bring people together and you sit and you have this kind of talk we're having right now about people, about authority, about when you can make decisions, I'm always available. That's one thing people at Disneyland, Lee's always available 24/7. They got my number. If they need to call me, I'm available. I'll tell you, the number one thing they got to create is psychological safety for your employees, that they have no fear of pushing back, speaking up, telling you what they think, telling you when they think you're wrong, and they may still be wrong, but psychological safety, it's everything in life. And I guarantee you, most people haven't been able to do it because you got to talk about it. You got to talk about it. And here, in your company, you can say, in our company, and when you hire them, you got to go through. Let me tell you something. I don't know where you worked before. I don't know what the situation was there, the attitudes there. But here, I want to tell you that you will never be get in trouble for speaking up, giving me your opinion. I want everybody that works here to be helping run this company. If we will discuss it, I will still be the one to make the decision after I've heard everybody. And the president of Disney World told me the other day, he said his boss told him, he said, you're kind of controlling, aren't you? He said, no. He said, I listen to everybody's opinion and then I make a decision. And that's it, make a decision. He said, I listen to everybody, ask everybody, I've got it all, then boom. And
so I made a similar comment on the last show we recorded, which was a joint show with our national association. And the deal is this: I'm not the smartest person in the room, and I know it, and that's fine. But the truth of the matter is the premise you're talking about is no different than what I've said, which was the most intelligent individual in the room is not as intelligent as the collective of individuals in the room. And because you're going to have more ideas that individual could not have come up with. And having those brought in is worth their weight in gold.
That's what they said. We all know more than one of us.
Yeah.
It's so true. And it's so hard for people because a lot of leaders are so insecure that they want to get things done through, I guess, I don't know. I don't think they think about being scaring people or making people or intimidating people, but they do. That's what they do because they have so many issues in their life. They have so many problems at home and other things and other mistakes and all the things that have built up over the years that they don't understand that the focus from them. Everybody, I tell people, be careful what you say and do when you're a leader or a parent. Everybody is watching you and judging you every second of the day. And role modeling is how people get psychological safety. It's like a dog. If a dog bites you, you'll probably never pet it again. Even I had an uncle. He said, "Oh, the dog's okay." I remember that dog. And you got to think about it. And you know people like this every day.
Yeah.
That go.
Well, I mean, and some of it's not everybody has the mindset of doing what they've got to do to get over whatever that fear is or whatever is holding them back too. I know, I've talked before about some of the things that I've had to do. The first time I put down my motorcycle, fortunately, I was low speed turn and into some loose asphalt on the ground and laid the bike down. And actually, oddly enough, people that were behind me were my aunt and cousin who are big time Disney adults. So they were, that was neither here nor there, but they'd seen the whole thing. And my wife was in the car and I got up, lifted the bike up and they said, "Well, let's roll it over here." And I said, "Nope, I've got to get back on it. I've got to start this thing up and go." Because I knew if the more time I let go by, the less likely I was going to get over that fear and deal with it. I needed to deal with it right then and there and push on past. Because it was a situation that could only build up and snowball into a bigger anxiety issue down the road.
Well,
so
in the future, if you have a wife and kids, you shouldn't have a motorcycle.
So you're saying the 3 I have now is a bad thing?
You should wear your life preserver.
Yeah.
You should lock the doors and you should have insurance. You got a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, I do. It's funny, and we talk about a lot about when you see a lot of the things that we do because of the industry we're in. I learned a long time. My faith is in my God, and what happens is meant to be, and is for Him to take care of. I know where I'm going to end up, but man, I watch a lot of families come through here where they struggle on, "Man, I wish I'd have done this, or I wish I'd have done that. Spent more time doing this, or spent more time doing that." And it's not worth it in the end. It's do the things that you enjoy and love, and honor your God, and honor your family, and honor your friends. It's
and your wife will. Her next husband will ride your motorcycle.
This is true. I had a friend of mine that used to ride with me that he never wore any gear. And I said, I have one of my bikes because my uncle passed away on his. And I said, I'll take yours too.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in Oklahoma where we were on motor scooters when we were 16, drinking quarts of beer from a 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
I know what's possible.
Oh yeah. No, it's always what's the mitigated amount of risk you're willing to take to the level of I'll ride my motorcycle, but when I won't ride it is come August and September about 5 miles north of here where Texas A&M's campus is, and you have 70,000 students show up who have been driving all over in other areas. No, thank you.
Well, then you have some judgment. Okay.
Some. Look, Austin will tell you some, and it's not very good.
Yeah. Well, you guys sound like you're doing a good job with your businesses, and I think it's just a matter of what we talked about today, understanding people. Just people. I mean, it's just that's the hardest thing we got to deal with in the world. I said, as soon as we're all gone, the animals will be happy.
Well, and
Yeah.
that's a lot of what you've talked about, what you've written about. It's not complicated things. It's just a matter of putting in the work to make sure that you do create these programs within your business. So
Yeah.
even whenever you're not there, it still operates as if you are there because it's the culture that you've instituted.
Just educate them, teach them, and let them have a better life because you did your job. And that's all you do for your kids is get them ready to leave.
Yeah.
If they don't leave, you screwed up.
Can I have a T-shirt that says that? And it's Lee Cockerell, and then I'm gonna wear it around them come graduation and all that other stuff going on.
Let me tell you, my mother was a terrorist before they had them in the world. I left when I did. And when my son left, my wife said it was time. It's true. That's your job, is to want to go do their thing and learn and live.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Well, so I've got a couple other little ones for you, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
One is, if of the leaders in the world, non-Disney related, do you have a favorite leader or two that you really admire or look to? And I asked Austin ahead of this too, so I did force him to have to come up with a couple as I did as well. So
I'll give you two that made an impact on my life because I have a very complicated life. My mother was married 5 times. I've been adopted twice. I got my name Cockerell when I was 16, my husband number 4. And I will tell you, the rock in my life was my grandmother. She was, she took me to church every Sunday, and she was the nicest person I've ever met. I never saw one bad word come out of her mouth. Anything I needed or wanted. And I would say the other one was probably a fellow I worked for in New York City who just went out of his way to train and teach me. He said, Lee, you're in New York now. You don't wear a brown suit or brown shoes after 5 o'clock. If there's a formal affair, you'll have a tuxedo on. And you don't drink out of a bottle like you do in Oklahoma. You drink out of a tap. And he just took, and then he took me and every Monday night, he took me to different restaurants and places and taught me and ordered food and explained to me and the person who wants you to get better is the person you remember and think about. And there's so much. I mean, you can imagine me going to New York City to work at the Waldorf Astoria. I was terrified. I had no clue. Last place I'd been was the Big Chief Motel in Ardmore. So
I still drive through Ardmore pretty often. So
there we had a keg of beer in the bathtub. But no, it's just. And I tell people, meet with everybody. You can learn something from everybody.
Yeah.
Even when you teach them, they learn, you learn. It's really good. It's great. And even you guys ought to be making sure this kind of stuff, business people need to be in the schools talking to the students about these ideas, these things, because the students need this and they need to hear reality. They don't want theory. They want reality. Here's how it is. Until they can start to hone some of these skills and behaviors before they get into the workforce. And
well, especially as disconnected as younger people are these days, that
they are.
Face-to-face interaction is not there like what we had growing up.
No,
you guys can make a difference in that kind of stuff.
I'll tell you, there's a young kid now. He's got to be in his mid to late 20s who runs a TikTok and Instagram and Facebook page called School of Hard Knocks or something like that. Does that sound right, Austin? And he goes around and he interviews millionaires and billionaires all over the world and just wealthy folks and what kind of man on the street type thing, and says, how did you get rich? And ask them, one of the things he asks them as he closes up, it says, if you were to die today, what is one last thing you'd want to leave to the next generation? And it's really cool stuff because a lot of these guys, the same kind of thing. None of it's easy. And that's, there, so many people get so hung up on, they see the success, but they never see the trip up there. And that's all the answers he's been getting from these folks is, man, you've got to deal with the trip on the way up and don't step on the people to get there. It's a big thing to understand that the success isn't just handed out; it's earned.
They say you're only competing with 5% of the people because the other 95% are not even trying very hard.
It's funny because I've always kind of said I'm what I do is a chess game every day. Every business is just a game of chess, and it's a matter of just kind of playing the game and trying to beat myself every second I can.
Absolutely, and be better than everybody else. People ask me all the time, "How can I have a good career like you did, Lee?" I said, "Be better than everybody else.
Yeah.
Have a good attitude. Be reliable. They don't know what you don't know, but that's what they can see."
What was it was funny. Well, early on in business, so we had this would have been in 2010, something like that. A buddy of mine came on with me, and we, on top of doing the monuments, we did an odd job that I had gotten a contract for. What had happened was it was Sam Houston State University was doing some renovations to a building, and an article was written up out of the Texas Aggie magazine, which is for the alumni here in College Station. And it had labeled me as a Mason, which is incorrect. But nobody asked me anything. They just wrote it up. So this general contractor reaches out to me and says, well, are you a Mason? And I knew enough to go, well, what do you mean?
Brick.
Yeah. And so they told me what the job was, and they said, can you do it? And I said, sure, we can get that done. I didn't say I could do it. I said we could get it done, and I know how to make phone calls. So the long and short of it was we ended up with the job and went out there and did it. And what it was, I remember distinctly standing outside the building as we were going in to do the kind of the bid process and get numbers and measurements. And the gentleman who's the general contractor is walking away from us and looks at me and goes, "Hey, by the way, are you a hub?" And it caught me off guard, but I knew I'm just smart enough at just the right time sometimes that I knew that since I had never heard that term before, the answer was likely no. So I said no, and he said, "Okay, well, that's not a big deal. We'll deal with it." And so after he left, my partner and I looked at each other and we're like, "What did he mean? What's a hub?" So we get back in the truck and this, on our Blackberries at the time, and we go, "What is a hub?" And like, it's a historically underutilized business, which typically means it's a minority owned or female owned or something like that. And I go, I'm glad I answered the way I did, because no, we weren't. But it was a matter of knowing that I didn't know what the answer was, but I knew I could find the answer. And that's a lot of how my business has been run from day one. I may not know the answer, but I can find the answer. And it's a matter of, can I get to the answer at the end of it?
That's all you got to do. Exactly. Yeah. And luckily, he didn't think you were a Mason like George Washington was.
No, but I've done enough of those monuments over the years, so it's.
There you go.
So, and then finally, one last little question for you. This is the fun one. This is out of the Disney catalog. What is your favorite movie? Austin, what's yours?
I'm a big Robin Hood guy.
I'm saying I like Robin Hood, but also love Coco because of what we do.
Yeah, well, I didn't know anything about Disney until I went to work for them. Basically, I mean, I'd been to Disneyland and Disney World, but I didn't keep up. I didn't watch the movies and all. And once I came on board, I tell you, the first thing that really impacted me deeply with the story and the movie was Lion King. I love the story. I love the lessons, and I love the music. And and I think there's a lot of lessons in there for everybody to think about. Who are you? Which one are you?
Well, I mean, it depends on how I consumed that weekend. I might come out looking like Pumbaa. So it's.
But yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, Lee, we greatly appreciate your time. It means quite a bit to us, and for those of y'all who are listening, and we're going to end up posting links to all his books as well, so that y'all can find them. I'll probably put it through. Do you have them on your website to buy it, or are they just through Amazon and things like that?
They're everywhere. If you go to the website, you can click on and buy them from.
All right, yeah, we'll do that because that way it comes directly from you, and you're not getting it out of cut.
Actually, the website takes you to some place to buy them.
Okay, well,
Don't worry about it.
all right. Well, so we'll give you a list in places where you can get them, and I know like for us in our house, we're getting them through Amazon at the moment. So check it out, and we'll hopefully maybe we can have you back on again another time and continue on the conversation. It's been great.
And if you order from Amazon, they'll probably bring it in a half hour to you. So
Well, I don't know. Lately, I think they shut down the drones at our house. Too many people complaining about their homes getting buzzed.
yeah,
So we'll see how this goes. I like, man, guys, capitalism's great whenever you like it. It isn't whenever you don't. So it's
because there's so many shotguns down there.
well, yeah. I thought about they sell those different kind of loads that it can like fire out a net as well, and I thought, man, that would be entertaining, I guess, if you really wanted it.
Hey, I grew up in Oklahoma. I know all about that. You guys take care. Have a good day.
Well, thank you so much.
We'll see you around. Take care.
All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you.